1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine. How are you guys doing? This is episode 126. Calling this bad boy Do Unto Others. Do I even need to have names for these podcasts? You know what I'm saying? At first I was like, I should have names. I think it was a habit they carried over from the previous podcast that I was on. I felt like I should have a title here. But as we're here at episode 126, I'm like, is it really necessary that I name these things? It's episode 126. What else is that going to be? But we are calling this bad boy Do Unto Others. I'll mull on it as we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'll mull on that further. Do Unto Others is the title of this episode. Maybe 127 will just be 127. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm just thinking out loud. I was discussing it with my wife the other day. I was just thinking. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking, should I just stop fucking naming? That was my thought. That's my stance, is that I should stop naming the episodes because it just is what it is. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it looks interesting. Like, I look at it on iTunes. When I look at the episodes on iTunes, they look... I know, I guess, yeah, I'll keep naming them. Just off of how it looks. It looks a little more professional with a name. You know what I'm saying? It looks a little more professional. I'd like to think so. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be talking about UFC Vegas 46. At least the main event we're going to be talking about. We're of course going to be talking... We're going to be talking about UFC 272. It's going to be happening in March. We're definitely going to be talking about UFC 270, which is happening next week. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else we're talking about? Yeah, we might talk about something else. Probably not. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how I'm feeling. But if you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal accounts at My Name's Jermaine. You could email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You could please right now hit that like button wherever you are wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. Hit that like button. Hit that favorite. Do whatever you can to let the streaming services know that you love this podcast so they can suggest this podcast to other like-minded individuals. If you know anybody rocks with MMA like your boy, if you enjoy this podcast, you know what I'm saying, share this podcast to your peoples. Put them on to your boy. You know what I'm saying? Just do what you guys can to, help get this podcast out there. Hit the likes. Do all that you can. Everywhere that you are, everywhere that you're listening to this, hit that like button. All right. And if you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. I'll follow you guys back. Most definitely. And I'll be active in your live streams. You know what I'm saying? I'll be in those live streams commenting, trying to just spread positivity. That's something I try to focus on the internet. Sometimes, it's easy to get into these like internet spats. But why would you do that? Just spread positivity when you're out there on the interwebs. When you're on them interwebs, spread that positivity as much as you can. You know what I'm saying? That's what I try to do with well, I don't know. Sometimes my tweets get out of hand. And then when they get out of hand, I'm like, nah, I'm going all the way in on this. I don't care. But yeah, I otherwise try to spread that positivity. You know what I'm saying? So I'll try to be in there spreading that positivity. That positivity, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead and cop some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5pod to be my patron. If you would be so kind. I didn't know. Oh, that's interesting. I just learned new skills with my old phone that I wasn't aware that I could do till right now. I still use my old phone. I write my scripts for the podcast and whatnot. I use this phone for a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I do rocks with the iPhone, but as I said, I use it here to film. Like when I post my videos on Instagram, that is all coming from my iPhone here. I hate when this fucking watch goes off with that fucking bell and it's telling me to be fucking mindful. I don't know if you niggas is experiencing this shit, but Jesus fucking Christ, nigga. I was being mindful till that fucking bell went off. That fucking ding, my nigga. I was being fucking mindful. I was minding my fucking business until that ding went off. God damn it. Let me just take a sip of this water. Episode 126, ladies and gentlemen. Do unto others. We just had a main event. A Jermaine event. No, not a Jermaine event. It was not a Jermaine event. It was an event. A main event. For UFC Vegas 46. Main event was... Did not know that light was going to turn off like that. That all of a sudden, like, warped the room in the fucking cinematic view there. All of a sudden got weird. Anywho, this episode's called Do Unto Others because Calvin Kattar put a fucking beating on Giga Chikadze. He put a fucking beating on Giga Chikadze. And just a year ago, he was on the receiving end of a record-breaking beating. I thought he was going to retire after that beating. And he comes back in his first fight a year later, and he's just slicing that boy Giga up with elbows. He was all over Giga. He got this pressure on Giga. Yo, honestly, this is what I saw in this fight. In the very first round, it started out to seem pretty even, and then when Giga started to let loose, he started landing fucking combinations. Body kick, like leg kick, high kick. Like he was hitting head kicks, like front kicks. He was like, and his boxing was landing. He started landing some shit. He was landing combinations, Giga was, and he fucking got excited, all right? Giga was landing combinations, got too excited and fell. And then fucking Calvin Kattar jumped on him and held him down, like jumped on him, took his back, picked him up, slammed him, and then from there, he grappled him out for the rest of the round. And then in the second round, fucking Giga was like wobbling. He couldn't stand still. His feet were just like not beneath him. He was wobbled. Like from the beginning, he was completely gassed by the start of the second round. shout out to Calvin Kattar, man, because then he proceeded to just come in, he kept that pressure on him, just hitting him with that jab, and then when he get him up against the fence, he just come in with these fucking elbow, throw them bows. He was all over this man with these elbows, slicing Giga up. It's been too long, ladies and gentlemen, since we've had some good UFC, ladies and gentlemen. Been too long. Been so long. It was it was refreshing to see some high level MMA, man. It's just crazy because before this fight, Giga was talking about how he was gonna finish Kattar. I was talking about how Giga was gonna finish Kattar. I was wrong. I was proven wrong. When Calvin got Giga to the floor, his grappling, man, he was dominating this man in the grappling. It's like, dude, just like, if you could really work on your takedowns in there, man, his grappling was phenomenal. He's attempting Von Flews and all kinds of the head and arm triangle. He was attempting some shit in there, and he was controlling. He was all over Giga in that grappling. Even in the moment where it seemed like Giga like transitioned and he was on top, he got his back got taken almost immediately. He thought he swept into the guard, which he did, but then he was on top, but then his back was taken immediately. Do you understand what I'm saying? His back was taken immediately. Calvin Kattar was a beast in his grappling. If he worked on that just a smidge, I mean, his takedowns, just get some fucking, just open fucking space takedowns, some shit, some Khabib shit, some grab that fucking ankle, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Some Khabib shit. Come in there with some Khabib shit, and then just fucking, he'd be a beast. He'd be unstoppable. Just his grappling was great. He wasn't able to get Giga down later on. As I'm saying, Giga, well, he did get him down a couple times, actually. He was beating Giga the fuck up. And honestly, I feel like he could have got a finish at the end of the 5th round, but the ref just like let it go because there was a few seconds left. That's what I feel like should have happened. He was beating the fuck out of Giga. It was uncomfortable by the end of that fight. And yeah, after the fight, Giga's posting pictures with Calvin talking about respect. Pre-fight, he said he was going to knock this man out. Pre-fight, he said he was going to finish this man and then go on to fight Alexander Volkanovski. Was saying Alexander Volkanovski chose the easy fight by choosing Korean Zombie over him. He was gassed out after the first round. He was real fast. I'm telling you, he slipped. He got real excited. He was landing combinations on that boy in the first round. Then he slipped. Calvin dove on him. Took his back. And that pretty much was the whole fight right there. That whole sequence right there was the whole fight. Because I'm telling you, go back to that first round. Before that takedown, Giga's going off. Giga starts connecting, landing combinations. He looked nice. He looked real nice in there. In that first round, I actually gave the second round to Giga. In my personal score, every judge scored every round for Calvin. I scored the second round for Giga. I felt like it was back and forth. And I think Calvin got a takedown, but I think Giga was back up pretty quickly from that one in that round. I gave the round to the person who landed more, and he was landing combination. It looked like he was hurting. Like, he landed the hard. He did more damage in that round than Calvin. So, and then Calvin didn't really do any damage with his takedown. So, I gave the second round to him. The judges didn't see it my way, but it didn't matter because Calvin Kattar proceeded to batter this man. I don't know what's next for either fighter. They both got sent to the hospital. I posted, I said last week, like, I thought Giga was going to finish Kattar. But then I posted on Instagram, I was like, is Giga going to kick his way into title contention as he almost did? And then I said, or is Calvin going to show him that there's levels to this? And he definitely showed him that there's levels to this. I'm telling you, in the first round, he was getting off. But then, boom, taken down. This is mixed martial arts. Everybody's like, oh, man, if there's any weakness to Giga, it's his ground game. Nah, it's his gas tank. That man was exhausted after one round. And he didn't really take too much damage, I felt like, on the ground. He was defending some submissions. But I felt like the most damage he took in that fight was from them elbows from Calvin Kattar. I think the elbows, while they were standing up, striking. He looked real discouraged. By like the third round, Giga looked real discouraged in there. I feel like he knew. He knew. It was over. So it was a great fight. You know what I'm saying? I was real happy to see it. I'm excited. Really excited to see it. I'm going to... really excited at this point to see UFC 272 in Las Vegas, which I'm going to be going to. And... This is like, I'm not necessarily like super excited at the moment. I mean, I want to see some live fights. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some live fights. But this is how my trip to UFC 272 came about. So they announced that Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan rematch, UFC 272. I'm like, damn. Then they say Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 3 at fucking UFC 272. I'm like, say no more. I'm there. I'm there. And I kept telling myself when I was at work, I was like, oh shit, I gotta put in the time off. I kept forgetting. Then I put in the time off. Like, everything was approved. And then, like, I go to, like, take a break, you know what I'm saying? I look at my phone, and the first thing I see is that Max Holloway is injured. And, like, that fight won't be happening at UFC 272. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, maybe they'll put a replacement. But it's like, nope, that's not happening. Then I see, what do I see? I see that, it says that Petr Yan. I see a fucking post that says Piotr Yan can't make it to UFC 272. I was like, what is this nonsense? And then I search, and it says that they're moving that fight from UFC 272 to UFC 273. And I'm like, what the fuck? I literally just put in this time off. And all the fights I wanted to see just got moved to a different date. The same day. Like, right after I did it, everything got moved to a different date. Or the Max Holloway fight has just not even happened. Max is hurt, as we all know. So then I was like seeing like that they announced Kobe versus Masvidal. I was like, oh, that'd be interesting, like little 3-round fight. on that card. But then I see that it says the headline. This is a headline. You know what I'm saying? This is a headline fight. I'm like, what? Kobe versus Masvidal is the headline? I don't know if that really makes too much sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make too much sense to me. I was hearing rumors that potentially a Nate Diaz versus Dustin Poirier fight might be added to that card. That'd be nice. That'd be interesting fights to see. But I was saying, like, for Kobe versus Masvidal, no matter who wins that fight, what does it really matter in the grand scheme of the division? They're both coming off losses to the champion. And, I mean, do you just give Kobe another fucking fight with Usman, like, right away? I mean, or, I guess Leon Edwards. Potentially Leon Edwards, you know, or Leon Edwards. Because he is getting the next title shot, Dana White announced. So, you know, I guess since they've just announced that, I guess it matters if Leon wins. You know what I'm saying? If Leon wins and then he has to fight Usman after that, like in a rematch, and then everything's in limbo with that, I don't know. I just don't think this fucking fight calls for a fucking $75 if I'm sitting at my house. I don't think it calls for that. If this is the headline, no belts. Are you even putting the BMF belt up there? Are they even gonna put the BMF belt up there? No, Jorge's not gonna do that because he knows Kobe's about to fucking dog walk him. All right, y'all all know I'm a huge Kobe Covington fan. But I just think this fight is pointless. As I'm saying, I feel like Kobe Covington is going to dog walk this man. So I don't see any purpose for this fight. Like, I mean, I want to see Khamzat versus Burns, but I think Kobe versus Burns or Masvidal versus, I think somebody versus Burns makes much more sense. Like, it is much more interesting than these two fighting each other. I don't think Jorge really factors in to the title picture outside of his hype. I don't think he factors in outside of his hype. Let him fight Khamzat. Nah, he ain't doing that. Because he knows he's going to get fucking dominated in one round. All of them are going to get dominated in one round. If we're being fucking honest. If we're being honest about Khamzat Chimaev, which it ain't even his real name. Ain't even his real name. But yeah, so I'm going because I already took the time off. And I was like, I could either like just not go or just go see some fucking fights. So I'm going to go see some fucking fights. All right? Gonna go see some fucking fights. It's gonna be cool, I think. But this is my thing, man. Just as I'm saying, like, I took off the time and then I look on my phone and the whole card is shifted, or the headlines have shifted. It's like, how do I know I won't finish this recording and now these guys aren't fighting anymore? How do I know I'm not going to see that? So it's like, well, see, yeah, the tickets aren't on sale yet for it. Maybe I won't go. That's my intention to go. But who knows what's going to happen, man, with these days? These days? Who knows, man? Who knows? Because they was trying to say Piotr Jan couldn't fight at UFC 272 because he wasn't vaccinated. So they had to move it back a month, apparently, is what they're saying. I'm not sure what's true here and what's not. But all I'm saying is you never know what's going to happen these days. You just never know what's going to happen. You never know what fight's going to be canceled. Like, oh, here it is, the day of the fight, but his fucking corner, somebody in his corner just tested positive. So this fight can't happen. Day of. You never know, man. Man, that's what makes this shit so scary. But you know, at the same time, I'm saying, like, any one of these fights, like, could end in 1 second. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, immediately. Just one punch, it's over. Like, Conor fucking finished Jose 13 seconds. Is that not a great moment? Would you have loved to see 5 full rounds? Possibly. I mean, of course, you would love to see a 5-round war between Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor. You would have loved to have seen that. Everybody would have loved to have seen that. But as I'm saying, if the fight could just be the 13-second fight that you got there, boom, I'm the champ. That could be every fight on this card. Fucking Jorge could throw fucking another knee in that fight quick as fuck. Faster than the Ben Askren fight. Who knows, man? Who the fuck knows? All I'm saying is, like, that's my intention. I put things in place. That's my intention. But it's hard to get excited right now because it's like, one, I don't think this fight really means too much in the grand scheme of things. And secondly, I mean, it's going to be it should be a decent fight, I guess. I don't think it'll be decent. I think Colby's going to just absolutely dominate. Honestly. I just see Colby dominating. That's all I think is going to happen. So I don't know. We'll see. As I'm talking, I'm like, I don't even know now. I don't even know, man. Who knows? Is it even necessary? I don't know. We'll see. As we get closer, I mean, every time I haven't gone to a card, I've regretted it. I didn't go see Conor versus Cowboy. I really wanted to see that. I went and saw Colby versus Usman instead. He was like, what am I, fucking globetrotter, just he was fucking going all over the place. Nigga, I live life, all right? I make choices. We can do this, but we're not finna be out here living like the sky is falling. It might be, but we're not gonna be out here living like the sky is falling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think you know what I'm saying. But this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, we have UFC 270 coming from Anaheim. One of the most boring cities you could ever be, unless you like whatever amusement park they got there. I'm not sure. Is it Disney? They might have like a Disney amusement park. It's one of those amusement parks that are there. I'm not into any of that. I've only been to Anaheim to see UFC. I saw Stipe versus DC2 in Anaheim. That was pretty fucking amazing card, and it started this whole podcast. Along with getting married and, all that. I felt like those were cool enough stories to start this whole podcast. So that was, they're coming from Anaheim, place where I've seen a phenomenal heavyweight fight. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, we'll see another phenomenal heavyweight fight. But this fight here is gonna be I don't know, it's so interesting. It's probably one of the most interesting heavyweight fights ever because I don't necessarily see Ciryl Gane like one punch KOing Francis Ngannou. I don't see that happening at all. But what I do see as a possibility is Gane just dominating him as he does with striking. I'm very curious to see what happens if there's any clinching. If there's any clinch exchanges, I want to see the strength difference. Because it seems like other heavyweights have trouble with Gane's strength. And we all know how strong Francis is. He was like ragdolling Stipe when he was taking his back and throwing him down and then hitting him with them haymakers. We've seen how strong Francis is. I want to see how these grappling exchanges happen between Gane and Ngannou. I mean, this fight is so interesting because we all know that Ngannou could end this fight in the first round with one punch. You know what I'm saying? Gane could be dominating this fight for 5 rounds, and that could be how he wins the fight. Just complete shutting Francis down. And just staying safe, staying away from that power of Ngannou. That could be the fight. He could be dominating Francis for 5 rounds and then just like at the last 10 seconds of the fight, just make a mistake and get caught by Francis, get put to sleep. That could happen. Francis has that kind of power. All right? This fight is it gives me goosebumps, you know what I'm saying, thinking about what the fuck, I don't know what's going to happen in this fight. You know what I'm saying? My pick, obviously, as you should know, if you're a long time listener, that I'm a huge Ciryl Gane fan. I think he's one of the most talented fighters I've ever seen. But we all know Francis Ngannou he's got that touch. He's got that deft touch. Like, he touches you, you fucking go out. All right? We've seen it. We've seen him make Alistair Overeem look like fucking Rock'em Sock'em robots. I seen it. All right? I seen it. So, all it takes is one from Francis Ngannou. That's all it takes is one. I'm not sure, I'm not sure how this fight goes, but I'm going to roll with my man Ciryl Gane. I'm just real interested in seeing, like, what the clinch exchanges will look like. And if Gane, I feel like Gane, maybe early on, will avoid any clinch exchanges with Francis. I think he would avoid that like the fucking plague. I think that would be the best course of action. He's just too strong. You know what I'm saying? I think that technique, he's definitely got his technique, but he's just so strong. You just don't want to be that close to him. And then, he just catch you with one. Just don't get in those clinch exchanges. Just stay away. Just prod from a distance as you know you can, Ciryl, and become undisputed. That's you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking. That's my pick for this. But as I'm saying, Francis could easily just end this fight with one punch right away. Throw the belt down or get a trash can, drop the belt in there, show up at Bellator, and drop the fucking belt in a fucking trash can. He gets sued the fuck out of his fucking life. He'd get sued so hard. He'd have no choice but to box Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and realize right away it's completely different and get knocked out. Because them wild ass punches he be throwing some looping ass punches. You're not coming at Tyson Fury with that. Possibly Deontay Wilder, but not Tyson Fury. You're not coming at Tyson Fury with that. But this is going to be a fantastic heavyweight fight here for the belt. Francis Ngannou, former training partners. They've sparred many times. All right? They've sparred many times. Gane looked to be getting the better of Ngannou in the sparring footage that was leaked. Ngannou says that he said they doctored the footage. And then he says they didn't want, he said there's other footage where I dropped Gane. They didn't want to put that footage out. And it's like, well, did they doctor the footage, my nigga? Did they doctor the footage? Or are you just embarrassed that he was getting the best of you? Because Fernand said that he was like, he's lucky we didn't show the rest of the footage because Gane drops him with a knee, and he was like, it stopped the whole practice. He said Gane dropped Ngannou with a knee, and it stopped the whole practice. So like, if that's true, I don't know. I don't know why he would even, because he didn't have to say like, yo, they doctored it. Like, if that's a clear lie, like, I don't yo, they doctored that footage. And it's like, and his coach is like, nah, that's clear. We didn't doctor anything. That's clearly Ngannou. He's like, we didn't change the speed of anybody. Like, that's why I'm like, what does he mean by doctored? What does he mean by doctored? He doesn't even know what he's didn't even know what he's saying. But this is gonna be a crazy fight here. Gives me goosebumps. Can't wait to see it. Hopefully I get to see it live. We'll see. And in the co-main event, you got Brandon Moreno defending his belt against Davison Figueiredo in the third fight, the rubber match, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo. Figueiredo is training with Henry Cejudo in preparation for this fight here. Cejudo used to, and Cejudo used to train together. Or Henry Cejudo is the same person. Is one person. Henry Cejudo and Brandon Moreno used to train together. And then apparently Moreno left Cejudo's camp to go and train with Joseph Benavidez. Yeah, he went to go train with Benavidez to help him prepare to fight Cejudo, apparently. That's apparently what I was told. So there was this random beef that Figueiredo was bringing up, trying to spark between. I feel like he tries to find reasons to dislike Moreno so he can just be serious in there. Because there's no real reason for him to dislike Moreno. Like, there's no real reason. Like, but he tries to find these reasons. Like, oh, he's a traitor. I gotta make him pay. But yeah, Moreno helped Cejudo train and get ready for Mighty Mouse. So I was watching the countdown, and Cejudo's like, he's like, I know. He's like, I used to beat him up all over these mats right here. He's like, so I know everything. He's like, I know all his weakness better than everybody. And it's like, yo, he probably definitely does. They were together every day training on these mats. He knows, like, Well, he knew certain shit about Moreno from back in them days. Moreno's the champion right now. Moreno has improved a lot from that time when he was behind the scenes helping him get ready to fight Mighty Mouse. That was a long time ago. But I'm real curious about this fight. And if you guys are not even that long of a listener, but if you heard maybe like 2 episodes ago or 3 episodes ago, I predicted that Figueiredo would be the champion at the end of the year. So, and I think his reign will start over again at UFC 270. That's my prediction. I feel like this fight could go either way. Moreno's great, and it's just like I said that Figueiredo would be the champion at the end of 2022, so I logically can't go against that pick and go with Moreno, but he very well easily could win this fight. He's fucking great. He should be the favorite. If not a live dog, but he should definitely be the favorite. He submitted him in the last fight. He finished him in the last fight. If he's not the favorite, it's silly. It's very silly if he's not the favorite. So Moreno definitely could retain his belt as he dominated Figueiredo in the second fight. He definitely retained his belt. But I'm going with Davison, Figueiredo, and New. That's my pick for them. There's some more fights there that I wanted to mention. A couple of fights. Trying to mention a couple of... There's Michel Pereira. I mentioned last week that he was fighting Muslim Salikov. I was going to react to it this week, but then Muslim Salikov had to pull out for injury as well. Like, all this shit happened in the same day. And now he's fighting this week against some guy named Andre Fialho. I think the person's making their UFC debut. So that's who he's fighting. Greg Hardy was supposed to be fighting, but he had to pull out via injury. So that's not happening. Yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to mention for that card. Yeah, that's all I wanted to mention. So, yeah, I'm gonna, as I said, I'm sticking to my guns, before I get out of here. The last thing I want to touch on here, at the end of the year, 2 things that I touched on in that same episode, the end of the year episode. I mentioned that Nasruddin Imavov, I felt like Nasruddin Imavov was the toughest challenge for Israel Adesanya, and that Nasruddin Imavov would most likely be champion at the end of 2022 if he is able to challenge Israel Adesanya. And I also was saying that I wasn't sure what Kelvin Gastelum was going to do next, and I was hoping that it was a fight at welterweight. It turns out that those two are going to meet. I'm not sure exactly when, but they're scheduled to fight at middleweight, unfortunately. I think Nasruddin is going to finish Kelvin Gastelum en route to the best 2022, or one of the best 2022s I feel like the year 2022 is just going to be great for if you have a Imavov or some kind of like Russian name, like you're most likely, and you're in the UFC, you're most likely going to have a good 2022. Let's put it like that. Like, chances of you having a good 2022 are very fucking high. Okay? That's where we are with 2022 and this shit here. So Nasruddin Imavov, I believe, could be champion in 2022, and if not then, no later than 2023, he will be champion. I feel like he has the skills to beat Israel Adesanya, and he has the skills to give Robert Whittaker fits and to beat Robert Whittaker. They're just two different fighters. I'm not like necessarily just hesitating on. I'm not saying that Whittaker's the better fighter. Obviously not. Not saying that, but yeah, I just feel like Nasruddin could beat them. I think he's the guy right now. I believe Nasruddin is the guy, and I think this is a bad fight for Kelvin Gastelum, but what can you do? Except hope this man doesn't get fucked up too bad. I think if he loses this fight, he gets cut. I think Kelvin Gastelum loses this fight, he gets cut. So we might be witnessing his last fight in the UFC. Maybe he'll go to Bellator. I think there's no shame in Bellator. We've seen Sergio Pettis have like a fight of the year over in Bellator. There's no shame in being the champion in Bellator. You wear that shit like proudly. So and with these kind of matchups, I think Kelvin Gastelum will either be in Bellator or Eagle FC coming soon. And if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod, ladies and gentlemen. And that's right, we're getting on out of here. If you guys want to follow my personal account on Instagram and Twitter, it's at my name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. Wherever you guys are listening to this podcast, if you made it this far, please hit that like button, subscribe, do whatever you can, and let people know that you love this podcast. Share it. Let the algorithms know you love this podcast so they can suggest it to more people, more like-minded individuals that are going to love this podcast just as much as you. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow your boy at twitch.tv/Babylon5. I'll follow you guys back. You guys can go ahead and purchase some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod and be my patron. Thank you guys so much for being here for another week. Hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other. I mean, before I get out of here with that generic goodbye, I don't think I really checked in. It said that I hope you guys are doing all right. You know, I hope everybody's doing well and that this week here is better than your last. All right? I hope this week is better than your last, and I mean that sincerely. And I'll see you guys when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant